Imagine being thousands of miles from home, on the battlefield, hungry, cold, and exhausted. Now picture opening your rations only to find something that looks more like a science experiment than a meal. During World War II, American soldiers had to stomach some of the most unusual, shocking, and let's be honest, barely edible foods ever eaten in military history. Today, we're going to uncover 25 of the strangest meals from WWII soldier camps. Some might make you cringe, and a few might even surprise you with how clever they were. Let's dig in, if you've got the stomach for it. 1. Canned Spam. Spam wasn't just food, it was practically its own military branch. It's tinned, salty, and pink. It was shipped in massive quantities to soldiers. On the plus side, it lasted forever without refrigeration and was packed with protein. On the downside, most troops quickly grew tired of its overly greasy, rubbery texture. Soldiers fried it, boiled it, diced it into stews, or even ate it straight from the can. The nickname Meatloaf of Mystery was pretty accurate. Yet Spam became a symbol of the American war effort, loved by some, loathed by many, and depended upon by nearly everyone in uniform. 2. Powdered eggs. Nothing screams breakfast delight like pouring grayish powder into water and pretending it has scrambled eggs. Soldiers encountered powdered eggs regularly in camps, and while they were nutritionally useful, the taste left much to be desired. The powder often produced a rubbery, sulfur-like concoction closer to flavored sponge than a satisfying omelet. However, for soldiers on the move, it was lightweight, protein-packed, and non-perishable. Some troops got creative, mixing it into pancakes or with other ingredients. While modern meal kits have greatly improved, these egg powders became infamous hallmarks of the soldiers' breakfast during WWII. 3. Hardtack biscuits. Imagine a cracker so hard it could chip a tooth. Welcome to hardtack. Soldiers knew this dense biscuit well. It was cheap to produce, lasted longer than some military campaigns, and provided quick calories. But eating it required determination and often a lot of water or coffee to soften the rock-hard square. Many troops joked you could use it as a weapon in a pinch. Despite being tough and bland, it was essential, offering carbohydrates that kept soldiers fueled. In downtimes, some even carved shapes into their hardtack, proving that boredom plus bad food equals surprising creativity. 4. Corned beef hash, a mix of corned beef and potatoes. This meal was supposed to warm soldiers' spirits. In theory, it sounds hearty. In practice, it often appeared as a greasy mush scooped out of a can. Still, soldiers were grateful for its filling nature, as it combined protein from beef with starchy carbs from potatoes. When fresh food was scarce, a can of corned beef hash could mean the difference between hunger and energy for the battlefield. Though not gourmet, it had the benefit of being versatile. Fried for breakfast or eaten straight for lunch, bit of comfort in a tin. 5. Chipped beef on toast. AKASOS. This infamous dish earned the nickname SOS, shortened from a less polite phrase soldiers fondly used. It was made from dried chipped beef served on top of toast, covered in a thick white gravy. It was cheap, easy to make in mass quantities, and at least vaguely resembled a real hot meal. Soldiers had mixed feelings. Some appreciated it as warm and filling, while others groaned every time it appeared. It became such a symbol of camp food that, even decades later, veterans would recall with a smirk or grimace. The endless servings of this surprisingly iconic dish. 6. Bully beef. Canned corned beef from Britain. Bully beef was the British cousin of Spam that American soldiers sometimes ended up eating through supply trades or joint operations. Made from canned corned beef, this product was dense, salty, and, let's say, texturally unique. Soldiers often complained it was stringy and tough compared to Spam's softer consistency. But in a world of battlefield logistics, food wasn't about choices. It was about calories and shelf life. Bully beef could last months in storage, survive long journeys, and still open up as unappetizing pinkish shards of meat. Troops frequently disguised it in stews or added it with powdered potatoes to mask the flavor. While not outright hated, it certainly wasn't beloved either. It's remembered today as one of those classic, functional but flavorless rations that became more about survival than satisfaction. 7K ration biscuits. K-rations were the portable meal kits designed for mobility, and inside them came these special, hard, compressed biscuits. They were calorie-dense but tasted more like cardboard than comfort food. Soldiers received them in both breakfast and dinner kits, and usually only tolerated them by dunking them in coffee or crumbling them into whatever else they had handy. Some troops joked, biting into one felt like biting into a block of wood. Hey, you got the crunch at least. Their saving grace was portability and durability. You could toss them in a backpack, march for miles, then pull them out intact. Without them, meals in the field might have been even scarcer. The biscuits symbolized the tough practicality of WW2 food. It wasn't gourmet, but it worked. 8. Vienna sausages. If Spam is the king of canned meats, Vienna sausages are the slightly awkward prince. These small, pale cylinders floated in mysterious gelatin inside their tins, delivering protein in a form that looked strange yet filled hungry stomachs quickly. American soldiers often poked fun at their size and texture, sometimes mushy, sometimes chewy, rarely inspiring. Still, when grilled over an improvised fire or chopped into vegetable stews, Vienna sausages provided comfort and flexibility. They were also considered better than nothing, and, compared with powdered eggs, many soldiers counted themselves lucky. Their lasting cultural legacy is proof of how W2 rations made even questionable foods famous or notorious. Long after the battlefield. 9. Powdered coffee. Coffee was non-negotiable for many American soldiers. Fortunately, in W2, instead of freshly brewed coffee beans, what arrived in ration kits was often just powdered instant coffee. Dissolve in hot water, stir, gulp, ... repeat. For many troops, this bitter, gritty concoction kept them awake through grueling battles. It didn't taste like home, but the caffeine kick worked its magic. Some called it mud in a mug, while others counted it as a psychological lifeline. Combine it with a chunk of ration chocolate or a biscuit, and you had a makeshift morale boost, even if it wasn't cafe quality. That steaming or lukewarm cup connected soldiers to the familiar ritual of American mornings. 10. Sea ration stews. Sea rations were the heavier canned rations intended for longer stays. Within them, soldiers might find meat and vegetable stew. Sounds promising, right? The reality was often a mushy, gray mix of mystery meat and soggy carrots. Still, the stew offered genuine nutrition proteins, fats. Carbs, and was often heated over small burners to create a real hot meal. Soldiers joked about trying to identify what kind of meat lurked inside. Beef, chicken, shoe leather, the guesses varied. Yet compared with just biscuits or dried powders, soldiers appreciated these hearty cans whenever they could get them. See, ration stew might not have been gourmet, but at least it felt like food. 11. Raisin bars. Sweetness was a rare luxury in the field. Enter the humble raisin bar, dense rectangles packed with sugar, carbs, and dehydrated fruit. While sticky and tough to chew, raisin bars gave soldiers a surge of energy and a taste of sweetness that broke the monotony of salty or bland items. They also didn't melt or spoil easily, unlike chocolate or fresh fruit. Soldiers valued them as a quick dessert or carried them as a pocket snack while marching. If you weren't a raisin fan, too bad, it was still better than nothing. For others, raisin bars were a small but powerful morale booster, reminding them of candy back home. 12. Tinned bacon. Its bacon came in a can, but don't start salivating just yet. Soldiers receiving tinned bacon often unwrapped what looked less like sizzling strips and more like oily, rubbery slabs of fat with streaks of meat. Still, bacon was bacon, and troops fried it whenever possible to recapture that familiar breakfast smell. The fat content provided high calories and energy, which was very practical in combat conditions. Eating it straight from the can, though, was another story. It could be slimy and unappetizing. Nonetheless, just the idea of real bacon on the front lines made tinned bacon an eagerly anticipated ration. 13. Powdered orange drink, vitamin C supplement. One of the U.S. Army's great health concerns was preventing scurvy. The solution? A bright orange powder that, when mixed with water, became a sugary citrus drink. At least that was the plan. In reality, soldiers said it tasted like watered-down cough syrup. But when it came down to hydration and vitamins, this powder played a crucial role in soldiers' survival. Some soldiers even enjoyed experimenting, mixing it with instant coffee or adding it to canned fruit. While hardly gourmet dining, it delivered the vital nutrients that kept men healthy and capable of fighting on. 14K ration cheese spread. A small metal tin filled with processed cheese spread might not sound shocking, but to soldiers accustomed to real cheddar or American cheese at home, this gelatin-like goo was quite the surprise. The spread was salty, greasy, and vaguely cheesy, and it kept forever without refrigeration. Soldiers spread it on hardtack, biscuits, or crackers to add variety, or sometimes choked it down straight from the can. While many didn't like it, others considered it a lifesaver. It added calories, coated the stomach, and broke the monotony. Years later, many veterans remembered this cheese spread vividly, not because it was delicious, but because it was unforgettable. 15. Fruit salad and syrup. C. Ration dessert. Ah, dessert. Soldiers opened cans of fruit salad and syrup and were greeted with soft, mushy peaches, pears, or cherries floating in heavy sugar water. While it may not have had the freshness of real fruit, it was a rare treat. After endless meats, powders, and starches, actual fruit-flavor-van syrupy canned fruit felt like luxury. Troops often split cans among friends, saving them for moments when morale was low. The syrup itself was sometimes drunk straight, providing quick energy. Compared with other strange foods, this one was remembered fondly as a small, sweet gift during hard days. 16. D-ration chocolate bars. These chocolate bars were designed more for survival than taste. Dense, bitter, and barely sweet, D-ration bars provided high calories in small packages, but they weren't remotely like Hershey's back home. Soldiers joked they were edible bricks. You couldn't eat, just sit and enjoy. When it was so hard, you had to shave it into flakes or let it melt slowly in your mouth. But the bar did its job. Keep soldiers going when no other food was available. Its toughness prevented troops from eating it like candy and exhausting supplies too early. Harsh but practical. 17. Tin sausage gravy. When soldiers opened sausage gravy cans, they sometimes found congealed white goo hiding chunky bits of sausage. Not appetizing at first sight, but reheated and poured over hard biscuits or toast, it transformed into something warm and savory. Soldiers cherished it not only for flavor variety, but as a reminder of breakfasts back home. Like chipped beef on toast, it quickly became iconic for its sheer presence across military camps. Even if it wasn't restaurant quality, the warmth of gravy dripping over a rock-hard biscuit could at least temporarily feel like comfort food. 18. Dehydrated potato flakes. In theory, potato flakes were brilliant. Light, easy to transport, and rehydrated with hot water into mashed potatoes. In practice, they often turned into watery, glue-like mush with a faint flavor of wallpaper paste. Soldiers added salt, gravy, or cheese spread to make them edible. Yet they were filling and brought at least a hint of the meat and potatoes meals soldiers loved back home. Some veterans joked that eating them reminded them what they were fighting for, the promise of never tasting lumpy powdered potatoes again. 19. Pea soup with ham. A can of pea soup with chunks of ham might sound cozy, but the canned WWII version was thick, salty, and strangely green. Still, soldiers appreciated its warmth, especially during cold field nights. It was rich with carbohydrates from peas and packed protein from diced ham, so nutritionally, it was a win. Many troops compared it to liquid cement, hard to love, but impossible to hate when you were starving. Though they mocked it at the time, this dish was hearty, practical, and strangely memorable. 20. C. Ration meatloaf. A can of meatloaf might sound comforting until you opened it. Inside was a grayish, spongy block that looked more like putty than a home-style loaf. Fried up, it wasn't too bad. Eaten cold, that was another story. Still, it gave essential protein and fat, and the Army considered that much more important than winning awards for flavor. Some soldiers improved it by mixing in canned ketchup or tossing it into stews. While most wouldn't eagerly order it at a diner, it nonetheless became another memorable entry on the things we endured list from WWII diets. 21. Malted milk tablets. Malted milk tablets were designed to be sweet, portable energy boosts. They looked and felt like oversized pills, and while they had a faint milkshake-like flavor, the chalky dryness left many unimpressed. Most soldiers ate them grudgingly, washing them down with water or coffee. A few grew to like them, treating them almost as old-fashioned candy. Regardless, They provided soldiers with sugar and energy fast, ensuring long marches could be sustained even when hot meals weren't available. 22K ration, canned ham and eggs. One of the more infamous breakfast rations came in the form of canned ham and eggs. Soldiers joked it was more like scrambled rubber with pink cubes floating in it. While advertised as a proper breakfast dish, its slimy texture made it hard to stomach. Heated over fire or pan-fried, it became somewhat edible, but cold out of the can. Only the hungriest dared. Still, it delivered calories, protein, and fat fuel that was desperately required during operations. Many veterans remember its gag-worthy appearance, but also admit it kept them going during their hardest days. 23. Canned macaroni and cheese. Even mac and cheese appeared in wartime rations, in the form of a gooey, pre-mixed canned version. Comforting in theory, disappointing in practice. Soldiers found it slimy, bland, and too salty with pasta that had lost all texture inside the can. Some grinned and ate it regardless, chalking it up to nostalgia. Others avoided it, unless desperate. Still, it provided variety, which can matter as much as nutrition when your food is otherwise monotonous. 24. Chicken and noodles sea ration. This dish was comforting on paper. Canned shredded chicken with soggy noodles and broth. Soldiers valued it because it was less strange than some other rations, resembling an actual home-cooked meal. Unfortunately, the noodles often disintegrated, leaving little more than chicken mush. Heated properly, however, it was one of the more popular options, making up for its lack of spice with its warm familiarity. In the bleakness of war, even a simple chicken and noodle mash could bring a smile. 25. Sea ration spaghetti and meat sauce. Of all WWII rations, this entry actually became something of a legend. Soldiers loved it. Unlike other canned meals, spaghetti and meat sauce offered rich flavor, a comforting texture, and a true sense of real food. While the pasta was mushy, it was still pasta. And with tomato sauce and ground meat, it felt like an Italian-American classic brought to the front line. Many veterans recalled this as their favorite ration, one of the few that didn't inspire groans. It proved that even in a world of powdered eggs and creepy sausage gelatin, ration designers could get it right once in a while. So there you have it. 25 of the most shocking, strange, and unforgettable foods American soldiers ate in their camps during World War II. Some filled bellies, some broke spirits, and some even brought comfort when it was needed most. It's a reminder that war, SNT just fought with weapons. S endured through meals, however questionable they may look in a can. If you were a soldier, which of these would you choke down, and which might actually win your battlefield appetite? Either way, these meals kept history's heroes marching forward.